Thanks, Ross. Good morning, everybody. As he mentioned, I mean, this is a huge week, big week, and on all kind of levels. Obviously, it's homecoming, and it's a lot of fun to experience everything that goes on campus with homecoming. A lot of people coming into town and families, et cetera. So we look forward to that. Tiger-Rama, getting that back going in full force. So excited to participate in that as well. And then obviously, a lot at stake in this game. This is a huge matchup for both teams. 81 years in the Valley and never had a matchup like this. So that's pretty special to be able to be a part of a game like that and a moment like that. And then also, as Ross mentioned, it's our breast cancer game. And just a couple things that I want to share and. Appreciate WCCP, the Roar, man. They do an amazing job of partnering with us and helping us promote the foundation and just raising money, for a great cause. And this year, we do our grant luncheon every November, and I think it's scheduled the first week of November this year, maybe right after the Notre Dame game, I think. But we're gonna give a little over $1 million away to a bunch of South Carolina-based charities and organizations, through the foundation. That's always a great day. We have our focus areas and we have the grant program. And so just in 2022 alone, our foundation is going to distribute approximately $1.6 million to the focus areas in the grant program, which will bring us to about $10 million. Overall since 2010. So it's something that we're really appreciative of and just thankful for all the people who help us use the platform to make a difference. And this particular game, we're focused on breast cancer. It's something very personal to us. It's very personal to a lot of other people. Just over the years, the foundation has given a little over $1.8 million in funding to the local hospitals, the research teams, and organizations that are working toward breast cancer prevention, research, technology, and early detection. In 2018, we provided a lead gift of $250,000 to Bon Secours for a new mobile mammography coach that hopefully y'all have all seen. It's an amazing vehicle. We rolled it out in 2020, and because of the 2022 Ladies Clinic, and then also the largest single donation that we've had, $150,000 donation from Jersey Mike's owner and Peter Cancro through their fundraising initiatives. We are going to donate $350,000 this year to breast cancer focused initiatives. And we're going to also make a second lead gift toward another mobile mammography bus. So something that Kath is very passionate about, and I know just makes a huge difference in the community. So additionally, we have funded the Breast Cancer Center at Oconee Memorial, as well as numerous Clemson University and Anderson University breast cancer research teams they're all doing amazing work. So just it's kind of where the money has gone and where it goes from a breast cancer standpoint. We've got our 2022 Tigers for Tatas campaign going on. And again, we've partnered up with WCCP 105.5 The Roar. And, for their annual Tigers for Tatas campaign, it's a lot of fun. They've got the bands are $10, T-shirts are $25. Now, you can donate at any of the WCCP remote locations that they're having, the Tiger pregame show or the Tiger tailgate show. You can go to Tigers for Tatas, .square.site. You can do that, or you can also go to Tigertown Graphics and their website and pick up some stuff. So everything will go to the foundation, and I promise you we'll continue to do good stuff with it. And also want to just take a moment to kind of tell you why. It's again, it's been a very personal thing to us, but it also touches pretty much everybody in the room, most likely. And about 1 in 8 U.S. women will develop breast cancer over the course of their lifetime. And in 2022, it's estimated that 287,000 new cases of invasive breast cancer. It's estimated that in 2022, about 43,250 women will die from breast cancer. Breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in women. Breast cancer death rates have been decreasing steadily since 1989. And the decrease in death rates is believed to be a result of finding breast cancer earlier through screening and increased awareness, as well as better treatments. At this time, there are more than 3.8 million breast cancer survivors in the United States, which is a great victory. And why is it important to catch it early? All right, women with breast cancer who are diagnosed at the earliest stage, they have a 99% chance of surviving at least 5 years. Women who are diagnosed, after it has spread to their lymph nodes, it goes down. And then, if they get to that stage 4, a 5-year survival rate is 23%. Okay, so early detection is the key. And that's why we're passionate about the mobile mammography buses and going in and people who either don't have insurance or they're underinsured and they, a lot of times making a decision, they're going to pay the power bill or get a mammogram, and they ignore that. And next thing you know, it's too late. Just really important for, people to be checked regularly and to, detect it early. And so then the next question is, survival rates and how they've improved. And it's in part, it's definitely because of, screening, awareness, early detection, all of those things, because it's improved. In the 1960s, 63 out of 100 women diagnosed with breast cancer were still living 5 years later, 63. Today, 90 out of 100 women that are diagnosed are still living 5 years after diagnosis. All right, so huge improvement. And in addition, today, 82 out of 100 women with breast cancer are living at least 10 years following diagnosis. And 77 out of 100 are living at least 15 years. And again, you go back to the 60s, 63 out of 100 were alive 5 years. Okay? So, that's a product of awareness, technology, research, a lot of great, smart people that are using the funds to create a difference. And so, just wanted to make sure that we touched on that. And again, I know we got a big game and all that stuff, but man, that's something that really touches everyone and impacts everyone. And just appreciate everyone's support because we have definitely been able to make a difference. There's no doubt about that. There's been a lot of lives saved and extended, because of, people giving generously, research, technology, the mobile mammography buses, et cetera, et cetera. So just want to, start off and say thank you to that. And then back to the game. This is a great matchup. It's a good. This is two good football teams. This is, Dino's got them going, man. I mean, he's got an offense that can score. He's got a scheme that creates challenges. They do a great job in the run game. Schematically, they give you a lot of different looks, whether it be a fullback in there. Next thing you know, they're whamming you and dividing you in half off the stretch, or they're four wides, and they're playing with tempo. They do a little bit of everything, but it starts with this quarterback. I mean, he's a kid from down here. He's a great kid, a great young man. I mean, a really tough competitor. I got a lot of respect for him. He is as tough as they come. I mean, this kid loves to run the football, and I mean, he punishes people when he runs the ball. He doesn't look to get down. I mean, he's looking to run over you, and he's incredibly fast. He's 6'4", 230-something pounds, and I mean, he can flat out run. He's just more and more confident. You can tell their team has just gotten better and better as the season has gone. You see their confidence growing, their togetherness growing. They got a lot of belief, like our team. And I think that's, again, makes it a great matchup. They're physical up front. They got every starter back in the offensive line, every guy. They're all back. So it's a group that knows what they're doing. scoring 36 points a game, 432 yards per game. Again, they're explosive, and they're really, really dangerous if they can get the run game going. This number 34 is a true All-American. I mean, he's the best we've seen. You're not going to see many guys in college football better than number 34. He's a great player. He's the leading rusher. He's the second leading receiver. So they don't make it complicated. You're going to have to stop 34 because they're going to get him the ball, and that's good coaching. So he is a great, great player. And then, again, the biggest thing with Schrader is, he's almost 70% completion this year. And last year he was like 50. So he's much improved, with his completion percentage, and he's even better. I thought he was outstanding running the ball last year. He's even better now. He's a bruiser, that throws it. I mean, he can flat out beat you multiple ways. A true dual threat quarterback. So we got our hands full with those guys, and then they've got always have a good group of receivers. They had a huge, like 60-something yard touchdown on us last year, split us on cover 3 right down the seam, and bounce off a tackle. And, so they've got playmakers. 19 has really become and emerged as their go-to guy. Gadsden, he is a big-bodied kind of, slash tight end receiver type of a guy. I mean, he's a really good player. And the same thing with him from the start of the season to where he is now. He's just emerged as their guy, and you see it in the play calls, you see it in their scheme. They scheme him up different ways. I mean, they're throwing him touchdowns from the backfield at running back, wheel routes to slot to the field. I mean, they got him everywhere, and they do a good job of creating opportunities for him. A lot of back shoulder balls, a lot of competitive plays. They beat Purdue on the last play of the game, 20-something seconds, one-on-one, in the end zone. So their guy was better than Purdue's guy, and so he's a real problem. But it's not just him. I mean, they got a nice group of receivers, but I think the key to them is the guys up front. I think this offensive line is playing really, really good football, playing together. You can tell they like it and got the mentality. So it's a good football team there. And again, we'll have our hands full. And then on the other side, man, it's they're all over the place. It's the best way I can describe them. They're pressure blitz about 50% of the time. So 2 out of every 4 plays, they're bringing it, and that's on average. So this is a group that's going to challenge you from a communication standpoint, a discipline standpoint. I think they got 2 great corners, no doubt NFL guys, All-American guys. They're very active at safety. They're a 3-man front with the star player, kind of roam in the middle there. Outstanding linebackers. They had one that got hurt earlier in the year, but and then up front, man, they're everywhere. They're very disruptive, with their movement. So you got to do a great job again, just communicating and being on the same page and executing with some precision. So it's a little bit about them. Same thing, kicking game. I think they're 6th in the country in kick return average. So they've got some weapons in the kick return game, a very balanced football team. And when you've played this many games, that's what you would expect with an undefeated team. There's only 9 undefeateds left in the Power 5. So you don't get lucky and be undefeated at this point. You got to be doing some good stuff, and they got a good football team and be a great matchup in the Valley.
Have you noticed a tendency of teams to load the box against them because of their running game, and what are the perils of doing that?
Yeah, well, the perils are that quarterback. If we missed him. I mean, we had 6 TFLs that we missed last year, 3 sacks that we missed. That we had him. I mean, we got him, but we couldn't tackle him. We couldn't get him on the ground. I mean, he's a problem. He is a big, strong man, and so you can load the box and play a lot of tight coverage, but if 34 breaks through there, it's a huge play. And the same thing with the quarterback. He is an aggressive runner. He sees coverage well. So you just you gotta mix it up. And he's you got to be very sound with your gaps. You've got to contain and leverage the football. We did a poor job of that last year. They ran around us twice, once for a huge play where we don't set the edge. You have to set the edge on these guys, regardless of where it's coming from, whether it's coming from the perimeter or the second level or it's your D lineman. There has to be an in-run force. If you don't, they're outside of you. You got problems. And then when they get you running, next thing you know, they cut back on you too, and especially as poor as we were last week on the cutback stuff. How we played it technically. We got to clean that up this week because they've got a lot of the same principles, and then how they'll use that fullback sometime to kind of search out or wham you, trap you. So it's a you got to mix it up with them is the best thing I'd say.
When you saw that Anai and their quarterbacks coach were headed from Virginia, that Dino had gotten them, what was your reaction based on sort of your knowledge of having gone against those guys and their creativity when they were in Virginia?
Does a great job. I mean, they really do. I mean, again, they do as good a job as anybody using their personnel and creating opportunity. And then they're in attack mode. That's just their mentality. They're going to attack you formationally. They're going to attack you down the field. You better be ready to make competitive plays and play clean technique because it's going downfield. That's just kind of the nature of who they are. And then they're going to run this quarterback. They're going to run this quarterback, and they're going to use 34 in every different way possible. So they do a really, really good job of attacking, who you are trying to, and creating opportunities for their playmakers. But they do. I mean, he's excellent. I thought he did a great job at Virginia, and they were one of the best in the country. So he's really done a nice job of I think, bringing something else to the Dino's always done a great job up there, but you can see the improvement in 6. He was a tough player last year. We were fortunate to win the game last year. Came down to a kick. We had a lot of drop balls on these guys last year. We gave up a couple big plays. We played pretty good in the red zone against them, but we'd had a turnover. We had a big interception, which was good. But he's a much improved player from where he was last year in every area of his game. Very confident and a great leader for him.
You've had a pretty good sample size now of games for your team. DJ, I think, is up like 10 points passing percentage-wise. Is there one or two specific things, better touch, that you can attribute to his just being more accurate this year?
Just confidence. I mean, just confidence. It's just that simple. I mean, he's more confident in himself, and he's more confident in the people around him. And, when you're confident, it usually leads to better production. When you don't have a lot of confidence, bad stuff usually happens. So it's really just a product of all the work that he's put in, and he's just mentally in a completely different place from where he was last year. But and because of that, again, his confidence is really high. And again, his confidence in the people around him. He's had a lot of continuity up front. He had none of that last year. Even in this game last year, we found out at breakfast that we were going to have to start Trotter at center, who hadn't snapped a ball all year, and he had a broken hand. And we actually were moving it pretty good, and we opened this third quarter and we snapped it like 20 yards down the field. So that was a killed drive there, but we just have more continuity around him, and he's worked his butt off, man. He's a really good football player. He's who I saw as a freshman. That's who we saw as a freshman here. That's the guy. And last year was a tough year, but it made him better. If you're made of the right stuff, it makes you better, and he's definitely made of that.
Any type of off-season, though, if you were a pitcher, you'd say, well, he went to the bullpen and they worked him some stuff. Were there any mechanical adjustments whatsoever from
Just
last
back to
year?
the basics. Just back to the basics. He said he wanted to lose some weight. He wanted to be a better runner. He wanted to become a better leader. He wanted to, just do everything that he could to kind of reset himself. And, man, he accepted the challenge. He accepted the challenge of all the criticism and all the negativity and all the prognostications and all the drama and all that stuff. And he just put all that stuff aside and he just went to work. And, he's in a really good place. There's not many guys playing better football than that guy right now. I mean, he's a pro. He's playing like a pro. He prepares like a pro. He's making big plays. He's making it, and it's so funny. It's like some people expect him to be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect out there. Show me a guy out there that's perfect. There ain't one. This guy gets dissected to the nth degree every single week, and man, he just keeps leading. He's become very, very inside out, and that's going to serve him well as he keeps moving. In his career, but just really proud of him. Unbelievable, focus, and he's reaping the benefits of it.
TJ said yesterday he doesn't slide. He's terrible at it.
Yeah.
Always slid head first in baseball. He said, I don't slide. And he feels like it's a free shot on the quarterback. You feel like, because we see it, across college football every week, that sometimes guys.
Yeah, occasionally.
Slide,
yeah. And they try, the refs, I think, try to protect him from that, but occasionally. But I think it's a mentality too. This kid we're playing ain't gonna slide this week. I guarantee you that. And he ain't gonna avoid you either. He's gonna run over you. I mean, that's Schrader's mentality. So this is two really good quarterbacks that are really the heart of their team. Going against each other in a undefeated matchup. That's a good one.
Why do you think Florida State was attacking the boundary so much? And what do you think y'all have to get it sort of cleaned up to sort of rectify that?
Well, first of all, we have to leverage the ball. We got to tackle better. I mean, there's no question about it. We've had 24 missed tackles. Again, if you have 15 missed tackles, you win by 2 touchdowns. So we got to trigger a little bit better in the secondary and some things. But really it. I mean, they did a good job on the stretch play, and then just cutting back. That was the biggest thing. And we made the adjustment, and we got settled in on that, and did a really good job in the second and third quarter. And then we just had a couple lapses there in the fourth quarter, which was disappointing. But really just got to play our technique and our fundamentals and execute the call better. Play the call. Sometimes you got really talented guys and they try to do too much. Play the call and let the defense work. So that's the biggest thing.
Where would you say Ryan Brzee is just physically coming back from the issue 2 weeks prior? And also
Yeah.
just mentally?
Yeah, he's 100% cleared, and I mean it was good for him last week. I mean he's obviously, working his way back into full shape. I mean he's missed a lot, right? I mean he missed what game was it? La Tech. He missed the La Tech game, missed all that practice, and then it was a crazy week. The week of the Wake Forest game, that was not a normal week, and he came back and was able to kind of play in that, and then all of a sudden we literally the next week he's out, so he's out for 2 more games, and he can't do anything. Because they had to kind of figure out what it was, and now, but now he's good. I mean, he's all that's behind him. So now it's just, getting back in the rhythm and flow of things and having normal practice weeks and just getting back playing some ball. So yeah, he's kind of playing himself, back into full shape. It won't take him long.
Dabo, you mentioned the difference in Schrader's completion rate this year, just based on what you've seen. What's made him so much more accurate in the passing game?
Yeah, well, first of all, those guys up front doing a great job for him. I mean, they really are. Those guys are really well connected, and they'll get into some max protection stuff too. But they've done a nice job with their perimeter game, screen game, They're going to get the ball to this back a lot. And then I think the emergence of 19. I mean, he's made a lot of plays for him. But I'm sure, he's just worked his butt off in the offseason, knowing that, okay, hey, he needed to become a little more accurate, a little more consistency in his accuracy. And, I think it's just a product of the work that he's put in. And he seems to have good chemistry with these guys that he's throwing to. And he's especially number 19. But he's become more accurate with the deep ball, whether it's the inside fades or the outside throws. He's become much more confident with the back shoulder balls. I mean, you see that a lot on tape, whether it's wheel routes or just, individual go routes where he's just converting them to back shoulder balls. But I think it's just maturity, experience, confidence, and I think, the coaches have done a great job with him.
The ACC can regularly be knocked by the college football fans. They don't seem to get the votes usually. You've got 4 teams ranked right now. You've got 2 teams undefeated. Is this the ACC you've been sitting here saying we play against all the time, or is this the best that you've seen the ACC in a while?
I mean, listen, I think anybody can beat anybody in this league. That's just what I believe. I think you better show up and be ready to play. And, so there's all kind of rhetoric out there all the time. Man, I'm just trying to beat Syracuse, honestly, So there'll be conversation about that for life, regardless. And it goes in cycles. 1 year it's this, 1 year it's that. But, I mean, I'm just focused on Clemson, honestly, and making sure our team's ready to play this week. And I think our track record speaks for itself as far as who we've played in conference, out of conference for years now. So that's all I'm focused on.
The Lombardi watch list came out yesterday for the best linemen, and 4 Clemson players on it, but one not on it's Tyler Davis. And every time I go watch, I'm thinking maybe he's having the best year of his career.
Yeah, no question.
And might be one of the best in the country right now.
Mm-hmm. Ain't no doubt. He's I promise you, them coaches that watch the tape, they know who Tyler Davis is. He's as good a player as we got. A pure football player. Those scouts know who he is too. So I don't know about all these watch lists and all that stuff and how all that stuff's done, but there ain't if there's a list out there and Tyler Davis ain't on it, man, he's a problem. Day in and day out, he is unbelievably consistent. Fundamentally sound, technically sound, relentless with his effort. You just know what you got with him every day. And man, there's a lot of value in that. I mean, he's a really good player. He's hard to block. He's got great instincts. He gets off blocks. He's got excellent fundamentals for his position. Great foot speed. Really good change of direction. He's a good pass rusher. I mean, he can do it all. He is a true complete player at his position, and one of the best people you could ever be around him. Just very unassuming, great sense of humor. I call him Baby Dex because that's who he reminds me of. He's kind of got that presence to him, the way Dex kind of handled himself. But he's a handful. He really is.
You call him Baby Dex, but does he remind you a lot of Grady Jarrett as far as a player goes?
Yeah, he does. He's got that. He's got the intangibles of Grady. That you just. He's a little taller than Grady, which he takes a lot of pride in that. Grady's not very. Grady, hope he doesn't see this. Grady's short. That's why he went in the 5th round, right? He's short and short arms, and everybody knocked Grady for everything, but he makes about $35 million a year, right? For a reason, because he just unblockable. The guy's he's just relentless, and he's so technically sound. You very seldom see Grady. With poor footwork or low pad or high pads or bad hand work. He's just and he sees it. He really prepares. He sees it before it happens, and there's a lot of those traits, and then just relentless effort. I mean, he's just relentless. He's just absolutely relentless, and that's Tyler has all those intangibles. Again, he's a little bigger. So maybe he'll go. Somebody will take him before the 5th round. They crazy if they don't, but I said the same thing about Grady, so I don't know. But I know this: when he gets wherever he goes, he'll be on that field quick because he's just a baller. He's a great player.
Dabo, keeping the subject on the defensive line, I think it was after the Furman game, you said Miles Murphy was loafing. What's the biggest difference you've seen from him over the past few weeks?
Let's put him on the sideline. He didn't like it, though. He likes to run out there first, but you got to play well. And he's just responding. I mean, it's not like he was terrible. He just had 2 or 3 loafs on tape, but you can't have that. Not if you're going to get where we want to go. You can't have that. And so just a little bit of accountability, but he's an unbelievable kid, just coachable. He's coachable, I mean, he just took ownership of it, and he's responded, as great players do. They respond.
How much harder is it for offensive schemers when you have a nickel Sam guy who never has to come off the field, and you never have to sub for him depending on
Yep.
personnel and all that stuff?
Yeah, you talking about Barrett?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Barrett's he's unique, and that's. I mean, everybody wants a guy like Barrett, but they're hard to find. Like Isaiah, Dorian. We finally kind of got Dorian in that spot. When he was here, but those guys are really hard to find. And if you don't have a guy like that, then you got to play a lot more true nickel, and which we do some as well. We'll get in our dime package. We put Barrett inside, but he's. Same thing. He's kind of the unicorn everybody's looking for. They're hard to find that can really, really bring the linebacker presence in the run game, but have the coverage skills of a true DB, and the instincts and all the stuff to go with it. I mean, he's a special player. He's one of those guys that could play a lot of positions, probably start for us at a lot of positions. I mean, he's a really, really good football player.
I've heard you mention recently the middle 8, and I don't know if I've heard that much before. Was that the result of maybe some metrics being studied and suddenly,
Well, I mean,
always been a thing?
I think it's an analytics thing. My whole life, it was last 5 minutes of the half and first 5 minutes of the third quarter. That was kind of my whole life, and then somewhere along the line, I don't know where it came from. Somebody in the analytics world started calling it the middle 8. And then Ross and Tim, they started giving me all of our middle 8 stats somewhere along the way. So, I just always knew you really wanted to have momentum going into half, and you wanted to set the tone coming out of the half. That was kind of, you always kind of taught that in this game, man. Those first 5 minutes of that third quarter are very important, creating good momentum. But somewhere along the line, it became the middle 8 instead of the middle 10. I'm not sure why, but it's it's something that we take a lot of pride in. I mean, for sure, we've been pretty good in our 2-minute mode. We've been pretty good this year, and to be able to execute the way we have in some of those situations, has been good. And then we've been a good second half team for the most part, and hopefully that's something that'll continue.
I guess last year you talked a lot about how Bo Collins was one of the more polished freshmen you'd seen. Does Antonio Williams fit into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a very skilled, highly advanced freshman. I mean, he's a freshman, but he's not your typical freshman. He is really, really skilled and great understanding of the game. Very instinctive. Came from a great program. He's won a bunch, and just really understands there's just a lot of things that that he came in knowing and understanding that a lot of kids don't. So excellent ball skills, and he's got great explosive speed, and he's not even close to what he's going to be. Because we got to get him in that weight room. We got to really develop him a little bit more physically, but he's a really, really good player and become a real weapon for us. Made a lot of big plays in 7 games.
Speaking of physical development, how about Nate Wiggins? How much more would you like to see him sort of ultimately?
Oh yeah, you talking about physically? Yeah, he's got to get more serious about it. You know, I think it's a lifestyle thing for him. You know, nutrition. You know, really falling in love with the weight room. I mean, it's just a maturity thing with him.
I want to say Makuba weighed in at like 180.
It's probably about right.
Is that in the area of tackling and all that stuff?
Yep.
Is there an optimum weight for him?
Yeah, I mean, he's not. You know, I mean, he's a 180 to 190 type of guy. I don't really see him much more than that. You know, with his frame. But he doesn't have to be. He's explosive, you know. I mean, he missed a couple times. He's playing with a brace on his arm, but he did miss a tackle or two the other night. But he's been one of our better tacklers since he got here. But you know, still same thing. Still young, and you know, he's definitely got a little. He's not boxed out at all, you know, from a frame standpoint. So he's still got a little more work to do. But you know, he is an explosive tackler.
Coach, before we go to questions from Zoom, we had one submitted from Zach Lentz from Clemson, who's unable to participate today. He asked, how's your faith allowed you to sustain yourself through the down seasons as well as the good?
Zach Lentz. Well, I mean, well, first of all, I know Zach's dealing with some medical issues, so you know, thoughts and prayers with him, and I know he's been through a lot, you know, with his family and his wife, et cetera. But I mean, faith is just kind of the foundation of my life. I mean, it just helps me have perspective, I guess, would be the biggest thing I would say, to know that, you know, God, no matter what happens, whether it's good or bad, you know, as a person of faith, I know that you know, God is ultimately, I'm his child, and I know he loves me no matter what. I'm certainly not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination, but through faith and through Christ, I know where I'm going to spend eternity, and so that gives me peace. And I guess, you know, I think my faith keeps me anchored. I think life happens for all of us, right? I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. We're all going to have major trials and tribulations through life and storms of life. And, you know, I just, you know, my faith has always kept me anchored down and allowed me to have peace no matter what. And it's allowed me to grow through adversity and develop into, you know, hopefully a person that's more Christ-like as I live my life, lead my life. So, you know, but again, it's just given me hope, and you know, I believe Romans 8:28. I believe that, and that is all things work together, you know, for the good, for those who love the Lord. I mean, I absolutely believe that, and you know, I think that there's things that happen in life on this earth, this side of eternity, that we'll never understand. We have no way to understand, but Christ, you know, he tells us we can't lean on our own understanding. You know, we just have to keep our eyes on him, acknowledge him, and through that, you know, what I've experienced in my life is peace no matter what. You know, and as I said, you know, a couple of years ago, I talked a lot about joy, right? You know, happiness is dependent upon something, right? Like, we're happy when this, we're happy when we win, we're happy when, you know, whatever, my wife gives me a kiss, whatever, you know, we're happy. You know, happiness is really dependent, but joy is something that I think is a constant when you know Christ. And you know, so for me, it's always been just, whether things are great or whether things are just awful, just keep my eyes on the Lord. You know, no matter what, you know, we're supposed to praise him in the good and the bad, and that's really hard to do, you know, but that's what my faith has taught me, is to you know, count my blessings on the worst days and count my blessings on the best days, and you know, just keep my eyes on him no matter what, believe no matter what, and just don't quit. Don't quit doing that. And that's always given me peace. It's always given me perspective, and it's allowed me to take some of the biggest, messes in my life, if you will, and create a message from it, through life, through my experiences. And so, that's a deep question right there from Zach, but that's the best answer I can give. God never says oops, and I've tried to live by that for a long time. And so I guess the biggest thing is my faith gives me peace. My peace doesn't come from a scoreboard for me. Peace doesn't come from, getting the answer that you want to hear or whatever, and it never has. Peace comes from knowing whose I am and where I'm going to spend eternity. That's where my peace comes from, and all the rest of it. Life happens, but it all comes back to that relationship and that peace that comes from knowing Christ.
Questions for Coach from Zoom?
Dabo, this is I'm just going to ask about Xavier Thomas. I know you said he had to come out of the game late. Just how's he kind of doing after playing 32 snaps center?
Yeah, he was a little sore, as you would expect, but he's doing good. He's on track, and he's healing. He's healing as he goes, more and more. It's those of you who've been around here, you remember C.J. Spiller back in 2009. He didn't practice until he was in a boot on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then he'd move around on Wednesday. He'd practice on Thursday, and then he'd go get player of the game on Saturday. Then he couldn't walk again on Sunday, and there was really nothing we could do about it. It wasn't really going to get any better. Xavier's different. He's going to keep getting better as he goes, but he certainly was. He was sore for sure. So we've got him on a plan, and kind of how we practice him and get him ready, week in and week out. But I think you'll see him continue to get better and better, as he goes throughout the latter half of the season.
Hey Dabo, this is Anna Adams. With how Syracuse kind of mixes and disguises coverage on the back end, what are some of the challenges for that in the passing game?
Yeah, they'll give you some exotic looks, if you will, do a good job of disguising. So I think the biggest thing is just like up front with the backs and tight ends and offensive line and quarterbacks, from communication and catching all the movement, you got to be very disciplined with your eyes post snap, because you think they're in quarters, but they're really playing cover two, and you'll throw a pick into it in a heartbeat if you're not really getting confirmation post snap and having your eyes on your keys. So that's a definite part of it, because they mix it up. They do a lot of different things, coverage wise, and try to bait you into some bad decisions.
Dabo, Coach Easton yesterday was talking about. I think he said he was big, and Wes Goodwin was Rob and big. But anyway, just kind of, can you speak about their relationship and I guess how that's kind of worked with the defensive staff, with Easton and Wes and Mickey, kind of how that all works together?
Oh, that's great. What did he say? He's big? What did he say?
Rob and Big was a TV show on MTV.
Rob and Big?
2006 MTV is probably not in his wheelhouse.
I missed that one. Rob and Big. I have to YouTube that one. De Niro wasn't in it. Was De Niro in that? Which one was Rob? Who's big? I assume Nick is big. Just assuming. They're great. I mean, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a good vibe in both our staff rooms. We got a really good vibe in both rooms. Great chemistry. I love how our preparations have been, week in and week out. It's been good. They have a lot of fun, and it's been good to have Nick. It's been great getting Wes in that role, and then it's been fun having Nick and his personality and his experience as well. Adding into the room. It's been a really good relationship.